2, 3, 4, scream for me, Bob Squad! It's the hardest part of the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you go over the top rope, and then you bang your head on the ring apron. Don't do that. That's when you feel like a big dope. They're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag, and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Knock it off. That's when you should quit wrestling, and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. AEW, the hardest part of the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Let's go, Bob Squad. The hardest part of the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa, Nelly, how's tricks? How's the kids? Some weather we're having. What's going on, everybody? Thank you once again for joining me on the hardest part of the ring. We are talking about Monday Night Raw, Daddy, all the way live, baby doll. Memorial Day edition, May 31st of 2021, with the not limited enough commercial interruptions on Hulu. Let's chat for a second before we just jump right into it. I hope you all had a good weekend here in the States. It was a 3-day weekend. I think there are many parts of the world where every weekend is a 3-day weekend, and hey, they're all happier and healthier people. What the hell do you know? Okay. Argue with me in the comments. I don't give a shit. What are you gonna do? It's YouTube. What's the matter with you? Or it's Podomatic, or we're Spotify. Wherever you're listening to this, doesn't really make a difference. It is what it is. I am what I am, and what I am at the end of the day, like it or not, win, lose, or draw, cross your eyes and dye your teeth, just being the best Bob I can be, if you know what I mean, and I think that you don't. All right. I hope you enjoyed the whole thing. I didn't have a good Memorial Day weekend. I was taking one of my walks. I like to take my walks. Even on my workout days, I like to take a walk before it. You know, usually wakes me up and stuff. And I saw a cardboard box on the sidewalk, and the cardboard box is open. It was an Amazon Prime box. I'm gonna get some water. I just worked out. I'm a little dehydrated. Pardon me. Talk amongst yourselves, Bob Squad. That's good water. Prevents fatigue and headaches. Okay. Um, but the Amazon Prime box is flapping in the breeze, and it looked like I'm not a cat guy, but it looked like a cat was sleeping in there. Like you knew the fur. A cat fur and dog fur is a little different. And I was like, oh, like a big orange cat. But you know what? And I don't mess with cats. I'm allergic to cats. I don't hate cats, but they're just not my thing. It's nothing against them. But normally I'd see an animal sleeping. I'd leave it alone. It's somebody's cat. But my gut told me, give the box a nudge. And I did. Just with my foot, just a gentle, not even a kick, just a tap, just a nudge. And a little bit more of a nudge, and a little bit more of a nudge. This cat-like thing is not moving, and it was orangish fur. Like if it was like dark fur or something, I probably would have assumed it was like a raccoon or a possum and gotten hell away, or a skunk gotten hell away from it. But it was like orangey, yellowy, big cat fur. It's like, okay, that's definitely. And I pick open the lid. There's a dead cat in there. Son of a bitch. That is a house cat. I don't remember if there was a collar or not, but I mean the thing. It hadn't been there that long. I mean, it wasn't. But the eyes and the mouth are open, and I'm nudging it. It ain't moving, and it seems to be pretty stiff. I'm not touching it, but I'm nudging that box. It's not waking up, and it doesn't. And the flies are around, and normally any animal would be upset with the flies, and then a couple of ants here and there. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, geez, that's a very dead cat. I mean, isn't that dead? I mean, it's dead. It ain't half dead. That's a dead cat right there. So I'm like, well, God damn it, I can't do nothing. Can't do nothing. You got to do something. Can't do nothing. So I looked up on my phone all the numbers I could find, but it's a national holiday, so none of these animal control type of places are open. So they had to leave a message or put in a ticket order, I guess, in one of their apps where I included a picture of the thing and the address and the name of the apartment complex it was in front of and my number and email, yada yada yada. But it's in a freaking box. I'm like, well, there's a couple problems here. First, I'm thinking the animals, and then the bugs, of course. I'm thinking the other animals, and then kids. There's kids in all over these sidewalks, in these complexes. I'm like, they're gonna open up the box. It's right at the perfect height, and they're gonna find this dead cat, or someone's gonna find their dead cat. So Went back to my apartment. I got a piece of paper, a marker, and some tape. And I taped that motherfucker closed as best as I possibly could. I'm sure whatever ants and flies are in there, they're in there. And I left a note that said, "Caution, there's a dead cat in this box. I've left a message with the blah 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 people, and it's a holiday, so they should pick it up tomorrow. Uh, I'm very sorry if this is your animal, but someone left it out here." Then I noticed someone had left. There. I didn't even notice this at first because I thought it was like a kid stuffed animal that was just thrown out or thrown away or something. It was like a pet's stuffed animal, and then like a random on a sidewalk in the sun because I'm sure it was a sliver of an aluminum. Oh god, not like a tight sealed packaging of like salmon flavored something something cat food. So this is a fucking pet that had died, and someone thought the way to dispose it is to put it in a cardboard box, not the body in a bag or anything like that, but in a cardboard box on the sidewalk, and leave it open, flapping and breeze. And there was no signs that the box had been taped and the tape would come undone or anything like that. Leave it open for trash. Leave your beloved. And I know it's a holiday. Well, what do we do to dispose of it? Something else. Figure it the fuck out. I don't care. How about a bag for starters? Okay. How about that? Because if the pet stuff was out there with it, then someone knew this was a pet. Okay. So after 2 phone calls this morning, waking me up, asking me where it was, and then I repeated the address I wrote down on a thing and told them there was. And then they said, "Well, what does the box look like?" And I reminded them of the picture I gave them. After 2 of those phone calls, receiving finally, I got an email later in the day, and I had to go back out and check it this morning. Because apparently some animal had tried to get into the side, but I think gave up or something, or someone scared it off. But the box was still pretty much sealed. And I gave it a kick too, just to make sure there was some weight in it, and there was. So the cat was still in there. And I had to be on the phone with the guy and be like, "Hey, yeah, the dead cat I reported, you're not going to believe this. Still dead. Nothing happened." I'm going to repeat this story in a Beach Town Comedy podcast in a couple days. So, okay, well, there's that. And that sucked. Because I've seen dead animals. We all have. I don't think I've ever seen like a dead domestic animal, especially that close. I mean, I'm sure in my life I've seen like a cat hit on the side of the road like really fast, like as I was driving. I'm like, oh shit, that sucks, and then you forget about it, you move on with your day, I guess. But this was like, no, I was had to come way too close with this dead pet, and that was different than just a dead other thing. Oh well, ready to have some laughs. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. The writing team, that's hilarious. Okay, we opened the show with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. Then there's a long Memorial Day package, which is nice, you know, for the troops. So I don't know if we have this in other states. If you're listening to this out of the country, but every year, the last Monday or one of the last Mondays in May, we have Memorial Day. It's a 3-day weekend where we honor the. It's not like Veterans Day. This is different. In Memorial Day, you honor the troops that are no longer with us, who gave their lives, and you do that by completely forgetting about it and eating hamburgers and jacking off. So, and then and then they closed their Memorial Day. What do you call it? Their Memorial Day tribute with a whole bunch of fireworks, which for the troops who are still with us is causing PTSD. So good call on that. Jimmy Smith from the UFC or MMA, I don't give a fuck. He was on the show today as the new announcer who replaced General Adnan, who quit before being fired last week. So Jimmy Smith was not bad. Similar to General Adnan, he had. I only call him that because of the manager from the '90s. I'm not saying the guy's like a evil war guy. I'm thinking of that character, and I just didn't think wrestling was going to have another Adnan. So what the hell do you want from me? Cancel me. There's nothing to cancel. Leave me alone. Jimmy Smith was pretty good. He called the action as if the four competitors in the ring at all times were trying to defeat one another. Again, you could tell he's more of a fan than Adnan, but not too much of a fan. but he had a good effort. I think decent energy, like he cared, but not too over the top and panicky. I think he could be really good, really quick, so they're going to fire him. Miz TV opens the show. The last time we saw the Miz, the zombies ate him alive, so he's perfectly fine. They addressed that by having John Morrison, who now has a learning disability, wear garlic to get rid of zombies, because zombies, it's the vampires and not garlic, so whatever. And then Miz complained about the smell, and then Charlotte came out, and I think Morrison held the ropes, and Charlotte complained about the garlic, but then Charlotte was either really convincing in character or legitimately did not want to be bothered with this and just cut her promo. It's kind of hard to tell, which is good. I like not knowing. Not being able to tell is good. You're supposed to be fooling me, motherfuckers. Charlotte was, she did her promo. She's sticking with that Cruella theme for a while, huh? She's keeping that going. Rhea Ripley comes out. Rhea Ripley is not fun anymore. She looks out of place. She looks uncomfortable, and she's saying nonsense. Could we stop? After all these years, could everyone, these fucking lazy writers, does everyone have to say dream becomes a nightmare, dream becomes a nightmare? Did they bite off more than they can chew? I've complained about this before because it doesn't go away. And she was the nightmare Rhea Ripley, of course, so we gotta beat it to death. Just don't call her that. No one calls her that. They recap Nikki Cross, air quote, defeating Rhea Ripley by not losing to her in 2 minutes. And Nikki Cross arrives and makes a similar challenge to Scarlett. I forget. She slaps Scarlett. Scarlett. I'm thinking about my G.I. Joe thing. Nikki Cross slaps Scarlett right in the face, right in the kisser. And it was great. She nailed her too. She laid it in, which is good because it's going to get replayed and shit. So the idea is that if you can't beat Nikki Cross in under 2 minutes, you're not a good wrestler. So that's how little they think of Nikki Cross. And Nikki Cross is made to look dumb by claiming she beat these women by not losing to them in a minute or two or whatever it is. So we set up Charlotte versus Nikki Cross in another beat the clock challenge. I thought it was going to be a minute by the way they were setting it up. I guess it was 2 minutes. Let's do some numbers. This opening long segment with Nikki, Rhea, Charlotte, Morrison, Miz, Garlic, all of it took 17 minutes and 6 seconds. Okay? To set up a 2-minute match. And we go to the break, we come back from the break, we have our 2-minute match. Charlotte has 2 minutes to beat Nikki Cross. Nikki taunts Charlotte and kind of runs away from her and dodges her for a minute and a half. They have 30 seconds of wrestling, and of course, there's no winner at 2 minutes. So, we're between 19 and 20 minutes in to set up 30 seconds of wrestling. I got nothing. Oh, look at me. I found a dead cat. So now Nikki claims victories over both of them, which kind of makes her look foolish. Like it's a victory that she doesn't lose in 2 minutes. Nikki should just pin them both. And if you're going to do 3 ways to death, do a 3-way to death. I think it would be the only 3-way on it whenever the hell in a cell is. Whenever the hell in a cell pay-per-view. Matt Riddle is backstage with Damian Priest, and Damian Priest is only there to say he speaks Spanish. So I guess that's that for Priest. But they just have nothing for him right now. But Randy Orton shows up, and what happens here? I wrote something down. It doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, Spanish. That's what I wrote. He's trying to get Priest to teach him Spanish in 8 seconds, which should work. So Randy and Riddle. Randy is going along with Riddle, and when Riddle does the zip it thing, like he does a zip it thing across his mouth because he's saying too much, he's giving in this instance he's giving away the secrets of how the RKO works, which okay, I'm like it makes sort of sense. Like why would you give away the secret of the finisher? And so Orton would want him to stop talking right away because he knows they're on TV. So okay, I'll give it that. But then Randy Orton, after Riddle does the zip it thing, Orton pretends to have an imaginary key. What other key would you pretend to have? And throws away the imaginary key, walks away. Riddle looks to find the imaginary key and cannot. What have we done? Is NXT on yet? It's literally on right now. I think it ended actually on. Xavier Woods and Randy Orton have a really good match. Orton can still play the heel role here, so Woods feeds for all the comebacks and stuff. 2 weeks in a row, we got to see Woods just in singles action show what he can do. So that was nice. 2 weeks in a row, same with Kofi, but we'll get to Kofi later. But we know Kofi a little better than we know Woods at this point. Orton, of course, in a flip from last week. Orton uses Riddle's Bro Derek finisher on Xavier Woods. Of course, last week, Xavier Woods lost to Matt Riddle using the RKO. You get it, 1, 2, 3. Oh, both this match gets 19 stars, and the 30 seconds of Nikki versus Charlotte gets 18 stars. Don't question my system. We got to recap Reginald. They love this Reginald guy. I'm not even mad about this one because by the end of this year, they're going to forget all about it. In a year, he won't be working there. He's the new, what was that guy? James Ellsworth. He's going to be one of those guys, except hopefully he doesn't show his dick to kids or something. Say too much? Okay. Shayna Baszler is going to wrestle Reginald. Last week on this program, not Raw, on this program, the hardest part of the ring, call me crazy, Bob Squad, but I think I said don't get excited about seeing Shayna kick the ever-living shit out of Reginald because he's going to be too competitive with her, and then there's going to be a goofy Alexa Fire thing, and Reginald will beat Shayna Baszler. Guess what happened on this program this week? That. Yeah, but I think we're not quite there yet. They show Lashley in an orange suit, and he's got a bunch of ladies, and they're dancing to music that they clearly can't hear. Reginald and Nia Jax are backstage. Oh, I don't know. Oh yeah, so Reginald and Shayna Baszler have their contest. And Reginald, this is about Reginald doing a bunch of flippity flops and making Shayna look dumb. And Shayna finally beats him up a little bit, stomps on his leg, which makes sense. Just take the wheels out from under this guy. You just want to see Shayna continue to tear this idiot apart. And of course, fire explodes from the ring post. Shayna's confused, even though this has happened to her 3-4 weeks in a row. She turns around, there's a wacky roll up by like a wheelbarrow roll through thing. But Reginald, 1, 2, 3, he limps out of there. Thankfully, he remembered to sell his leg. And there you go. No one listens to Bob. I told him there's a dead cat in a box. Nobody listens to Bob. Nobody listens to Bob. Jimmy Smith then explains what happened. Good luck, you poor bastard. Reginald and Nia. Oh yeah, and of course Reginald has to be in love with Nia Jax for no reason, because Nia has to be presented as awesome and perfect and dominant in every possible way. So this thing is really about her and Reginald in many ways. So until Reginald screws up and Nia will just obliterate Reginald, and there won't be any Nia getting distracted and pinned by Reginald. Nia will just obliterate him and pin him with no offense, yada yada yada, and that'll be that. That's what's going to happen. I'm calling that now, too. Not right away, but give it a little bit of time. Close to SummerSlam. Just before, during, or just after. That's when that happens. An Irish guy is talking to Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre cuts a weird promo. He's going to wrestle Kofi Kingston later again. The second week in a row. This time Lashley and MVP are banned, or they'll be fined, or whatever. And Drew cuts a weird promo on Kofi Kingston talking about how he has the advantage over Kofi Kingston because he chose not to have kids. What? That didn't make a lick of sense. And then what happens after that? There's a Drew package. We see Drew's package for a little bit. I like that he grows his chest hair and stomach hair out a little bit. Like he doesn't go crazy with it, but just a little bit, like a man. Kind of dig that. I kind of dig the hair. Makes him look more imposing. He looks tougher that way. Yeah. We have a tease from Alexa Bliss. Easy. We have a longer tease from Eva Marie. Go crazy, I don't give a shit. The evolution thing. So this is a longer inspirational thing. Yeah, I really, because they don't do irony anymore, and they barely did when they did. The most irony they ever did was Vince looking right at the camera during bad commercials and going, "Get it, cousin Luke? You remember those, right? Okay." Um, Kane drinking the coffee, which is, yeah, remember those like jokes. Anyway, I really think Eva Evolution is just going to be like a boring, inspirational, I'm awesome babyface, which no one wants to see. And that's another example of getting away with the live crowd. I don't think they want a live crowd back. Well, they want the money from that back, but why would they want another live crowd to tell them all their ideas have sucked for a year and a half? Kofi Kingston is talking to the same Irish guy, and Kofi says, "Why is he bringing up my kids?" Which made perfect sense. And he says, "My kids are an advantage because my family, yada yada, because I fight for them, and my friends, I fight for them." And okay, we have a Raw Tag Team Championship match with two heel teams. This worked well. So right before this, there was a Jackson Riker thing. He's staring off into space, and Elias, who has the guitar, is chewing him out for staring off into space. And Jackson mentions that he fought in Iraq, so of course it's Memorial Day. So they're making this whole match is about they're going to shove babyface Jackson Riker down our throats. So we're going to get Nia, Reginald, Jackson Riker, Evolution, and I'm missing something. All shoved down our throats. Oh, Alexa. I think we still like. I still like Alexa, but the Lily thing is dumb. And without the Fiend, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. She's not a Tim. I'm not afraid of Alexa. No one's afraid of Alexa. Um, well, she shows up again later, but whatever. What happens here? So we have Omos and AJ Styles defend the tag team championships against Jackson Riker, and Elias in his match is about Jackson Riker. And you'll notice even before Jackson Riker never actually cheats, and he doesn't really back down from Omos. I mean, he's not super brave and heroic yet either, but he's just neutrally straightforward. So of course Elias leaves him hanging, and then Jackson loses the match. So we're gonna make Jackson a super huge muscular guy. Um, well, maybe. I don't know what they're going to do with his social media. LOL. Jesus Christ, Bob. I don't know what Jackson actually, honestly, wrote on Reddit or Twitter or whatever. This was back during the last June, last May, the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, what have you. So there was definitely some locker room, and they fired the other two guys for it. So of the group, Riker was I keep mentioning that because why? That's not going to go well. Nia Jax. Oh, the tag team title match gets 20 stars. And Reginald versus Shane gets 21 stars. Don't question my system. An Irish guy is talking to Elias. I skipped forward. Elias cut a long, boring thing about being held. The guy's holding him down. Yada yada yada. Alexa Bliss has the playground, and she's talking to Reginald, who just got done with another thing with Nia, where they're talking about champagne, and Nia's all. So there's as much Nia. There's more Nia and Reginald than there is Shane and Reginald on this, and Shane and Reginald had a match and a segment, which happens right here. We're in a swing set in a ring somehow in the middle of the show, and Reginald is being talked to by Alexa and Lily the doll, and it's very dumb. And Shayna Baszler comes up from behind Reginald and bounces him backwards off the swing into the mat, which was the best part of the whole show. Tosses his ass out, and she tells Alexa pretty much, "We're gonna have a talk because you're messing my business." Then Shayna looks at the doll Lily and says, "You're a stupid doll," which is dumb to me. Why wouldn't she just rip the doll away and throw it down or tear the head off or whatever the fuck? Which someone should just do. Shane will be the biggest babyface in the company, but then they won't listen anyway. What happens here? The Irish guy is talking to Bobby Lashley and MVP, and they're dancing with the ladies again, and they kick him out for being Irish. Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre have a great match. Second week in a row. I mean, after 2 weeks in a row, I don't want to see him have another match, but this was really good. I didn't think Kofi was just going to flat out beat Drew. I was, yeah. Drew wins the thing, and match gets 22 stars, by the way. Drew wins the thing, and that means it's Drew and Bobby at the Hell in a Cell. And I think we're all kind of over the excess of Drew and Bobby matches. I mean, they're not bad. The thing is, they're not bad, but it's kind of. But I didn't expect Kofi to get the match and not Drew. So this is one of those situations where I go against my gut and go, yeah, actually, just do the 3-way. And that's because you know Kofi would eat the pin there anyway, but just have a different match, or maybe just fuck Drew royally. Remember countouts? You can get counted out. You're not supposed to be out of the ring that long. Somebody else, because Lashley and MVP get fined, right? If they go to the thing. So Lashley. So somebody else. What the hell the Hurt Business doing? Can they show up and do something to cause Drew to lose by count out or whatever? Sometimes referees make mistakes. A guy's a foot on a rope and a referee doesn't see it. I don't know if you want to go to that well too many times because they've done a few of those, but then it makes all your referees look like incompetent boobs. We don't want them to look like boobs, do we? We don't want them to look like boobs. So, in less than 3 weeks, we're going to watch Hell in a Cell on the Peacock Network, like a couple of boobs. And I'm going to feel like a giant boob watching a bunch of boobs say a bunch of stuff that a bunch of boobs wrote for them. And then I pretend to fight like a bunch of boobs. And I'm going to do a podcast about it. Like a giant boob. Just feel like a huge boob. Boob. Okay, enough of that. I used to spell Bob with 2 O's. One of them was silent. I would just tell people it's European. It's not true. Not true at all. Let me get more water. Oh, for the G.I. Joe people that are listening to this, on this very same channel on YouTube, is it Bob Hansen Jokes? Chris, what's the name of my channel? I don't even know. Yeah, the Discombobulated, the new Sunbob episode, Discombobulated, is up. Oh my goodness, this was twice as long as it needed to be. Instead of 17 minutes, it's like 34, it's insane. I should have probably uploaded it in 2 parts because there's some chunks, especially in the second half, where the exporting of the M2 and MP4 video file, it lags just a little. I'm like, ugh. This was 6 weeks of brutal hard work on this thing, and I'm just, why did I, but I really didn't want people to watch it in 2-part chunks. Not this one. There's another 2-parter. Try that again. There's another 2-parter I want to do, but I want to deliberately make that a 2-parter. For this one, Discombobulated, I didn't want people watching this, and I think this one has to be watched in a big chunk, a big half-hour and change chunk from A to Z. I think it just watches better that way, so I didn't want to do it that way. I didn't do a live premiere thing either. I just thought, let me leave it, because there's just so much going on this one, and I just thought doing the live chat at the same time would just be kind of a distraction, and then, because I drop clues, like, if you didn't catch one of like the 22 times I put that Captain America shield under the snow or the cotton balls, good God! But but there's so many little things in that I just like, no, this isn't the way to watch this episode. I didn't think. The 2-parter I want to do, I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain, is all the G.I. Joe fans are more than familiar with Arise Serpentor Arise, the 5-parter that introduced Serpentor and Slaughter and Mindbender, yada yada. And I can never do a birth of Serpentor better than this 5-part episode. But what I would like to do is at least maybe like a 2 15-minute parter, Demise, Serpentor Demise. I'll do my own version of his demise. I know in the cartoon, in the beginning of the Deke series, he becomes an iguana or a lizard or something. In the comics, I know Zartan shoots him in the eyeball with an arrow or something like that. I think that's it, yeah. But I want to do my own. In discombobulated, Serpentor is born into the Sunbob canon. The episodes are a bit scattered in the timeline. You just kind of have to find it. But Serpentor in this, if you haven't seen it, I'm not spoiling too much here, is created when Megatron's fusion cannon bounces off He-Man's shield into Skeletor's Havoc staff, and out of spite against out of spite against Cobra Commander, Skeletor says, "I'm going to make a new Cobra Emperor using the extra evil I have in my staff now, just to spite you for leading me out onto this planet in this world, looking for the device, the MacGuffin device of this episode, the discombobulator, which is a Rubik's cube." So that's how Serpentor is made, basically through the malice of both Megatron and Skeletor, and the defense of He-Man, I guess. But the malice and bad intentions, combined technology and magic, evil magic of Skeletor, are what creates Serpentor. My original plan was for Serpentor to be created by Emperor Palpatine in this, but it was just too much, and the thing, good God. I think this is the best one. It's I figure if you're gonna go crossover happy and fanboy it the fuck out. Like, do it. And this was the one where I threw all of that into the plate on the table. I just went, do it. It's all here, okay? All these other toys that I can't think of a reason to have a video with, I'm gonna put them in here. I'm gonna sneak them in. You see some Star Wars or some Star Disagreements, copyright. You see, you got some Godzilla, some Planet of the Apes, a little Thundercats, a little Big Lebowski, like some wrestling. We get a little crazy with it. So please enjoy Discombobulated. It's probably the video I uploaded right before this one. It's on the Sunbob playlist. New Beach Town will come out this week. I'm rambling on. Thank you guys for listening to me. Bob Squad, don't ever change. It's the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.